Hello and welcome to Gamtrix. I'm Matt and today I'll be talking you through my review for Assassin's Creed Mirage. And with that, let's get into it. 3.5 years after the launch of Assassin's Creed Valhalla, there have been countless expansions to boot for the game, which have made it a very packed and lengthy experience. So it's easy to say that I took a sigh of relief to learn that the newest installment in the long-running series was a lot shorter. Refreshing return to the roots of Assassin's Creed in the best possible way. Assassin's Creed Mirage follows the origin story of Basim, who some of you will know from Assassin's Creed Valhalla already. Now I'm going to say here first that I won't be talking too much about the game's story in order to avoid the spoilers and not to upset anyone looking to go into the game fresh without any prior knowledge. Upon starting Assassin's Creed Mirage, I was greeted warmly by none other than the golden dusty city itself of Baghdad. The beige and gold setting was a comfortable sight, with splashes of vibrant colour spread across the city, giving a characterisation and a sense of depth. You're really drawn to these eye-popping areas. The shiny, pale blue ornate domes glitter off the sunlight and feel very inviting, almost challenging you to climb up and take a look around. Baghdad is a lovingly crafted and faithful recreation of how Ubisoft believes the city looked back in the 9th century, and the whole place is soaked in historical attention, boasting 21 historical landmarks to discover around the city to give you a new knowledge of the city and to immerse you deeper in the real-world lore. The interplay of dynamic shadows in between the desert buildings with ray-traced lighting bouncing all around weaves a breathless environment to navigate. I played this on performance mode and graphics mode, and the graphics mode really held up for visual fidelity. Colours really popped and the reflections upon the water were absolutely stunning, making the water feel almost drinkable if it wasn't trapped behind my TV screen. Fountains, sprays and bodies of water felt inviting and refreshing against the dry, dusky setting of the city. But because of the scale of the city and how it's laid out, areas of the city did feel a little tight and claustrophobic at times, adding to the idea that Baghdad is a tight, sharp city of secrets. Sharp corners and cut straight corners in the environment make you really think on your feet about how to navigate a path and escape a situation. But as always, you have your parkour to bail you out when running down the streets simply isn't enough to elude your pursuers, and trust me, 9 times out of 10, you will need to climb. Parkouring around Baghdad is an absolute dream. Swinging from pillars, sliding down ropes, sweeping around building corners on rope hooks and climbing the side of buildings with ease has never felt so good. I wasn't kidding when I said it feels like a return to roots, and I'm back to feeling the exhilaration that came from the series before the RPG elements took over after Origins. This is not to say the game handles perfectly though. I did feel the controls a little unresponsive with a clunky edge to them at times. For example, you can't just climb up any building, they need to be grab handles or cling points. Basim doesn't always want to grab where you want him to go, and this leaves a certain level of unpredictability. I've been frantically trying to escape guards after a fight and trying my best to climb a building I know can be ascended, but Basim simply doesn't respond, and instead pushes himself against a building and sliding back off, causing a momentary lapse of frustration. But the swift, speedy running, sliding and climbing parkour is back at all its glory, and for that I'm quite thankful. Mirage is a vastly smaller game in scope and scale compared to its bloated predecessors. Assassin's Creed Mirage is far more digestible and is a great place for returning Assassin's Creed fans to jump back into what they know and love. The RPG elements are still in there in some ways, but the game isn't so focused upon them and they don't feel like they're integral to doing well in the game. Leveling up is still the case and unlocking items, abilities and tools are still part of the focus, but you aren't grinding on quests and missions in hopes of leveling up to get that next ability you want. The game feels like fan service, leaning towards what the fans have been asking for and knowing what they love. With a shorter game and a smaller map comes a far more simplistic story. We play the game as Basim, a street thief turned fully fledged assassin. Those who have played Valhalla will already recognise Basim, where we meet an older, more experienced version of him. We meet various characters and assassins along the way. Most notable characters are Roshan, but none of the other characters felt memorable or left much of an impact on my journey. The plot does feel fairly rudimentary, a street thief Robin Hood who changes to a stone cold killer assassin for justice, but it does have its own nuances to keep it feeling from just like another tale retold. However, the main enemy of the game focus and story is pretty much a rehash of what's been done time and time again. Basim is sent to hunt down a shadowy group of masked figures, uncovering their identities and motives. The gameplay changes up to an investigation which adds new flavour to the texture of the gameplay, and as you build up clues and talk to suspects gaining critical information, it adds a new rhythm to the game with unique ways of storytelling. New side missions are optional to the game, are called Tales of Baghdad. These are small detailed stories about the citizens of the city and how Basim can help them. Each is different and can give new history about the city and its people. They aren't going to win any prizes for being groundbreaking, but they do offer another way to explore Baghdad and get to know life inside the city at the time. Now, stealth is always your best friend. I would say 90% of the game relies upon it, as the game can be a little bit overwhelming if you decide to go in sword aloof and swing wildly. You're not punished for going in wild if that's what you really want to do, but it is not advised, as the numbers can rack up against you and the odds of winning sword fights in Mirage are not good when you're overwhelmed by guards in seconds. This is compounded by the notoriety system, which is basic but seemingly effective. Guards will remember your face and seek you out in a crowd if they spot you. They will patrol and give chase if they recognise you. And it's a clever system that I found quite exhilarating, but if you aren't happy being pursued by the law at every possible sighting, then you have a couple of options. You can pay the town crier as a fee to clear you of charges and return your status to normal, or you can choose to remove hand-painted wanted posters of yourself by tearing them down. Usually 3 posters will return you back to an anonymous citizen in the crowded streets. However, if you do happen to take on the whole garrison, lift your notoriety to the max level, and barely live to tell the tale, then a new feature I found quite profound yet fantastic is the ability to eat. I mean, fruits from bushes, food you find in buildings, stealing from street vendors or just off the street, it adds back up to your health if you've taken a strong beating, and it's an easy way to restore any lost vitality if you've run out of any of your own healing elixirs. There are many ways to get yourself into trouble: pickpocketing valuables for your friend Dervis, looting chests in restricted areas, or just assassinating guards and targets out in the open. Assassin's Creed Mirage is a game all about fan service and returning to the roots of what made Assassin's Creed so great in the first place. The game is smaller in size and scope, the story is simplistic and rarely happy surprised, the characters were unmemorable and bland, but the city itself was the main character here, and it shines brightly beyond any carefully scripted main character. I enjoyed my time in Baghdad, assassinating, pickpocketing and forging Bassam's legacy as an assassin in the Hidden Ones. I'd recommend playing the game if the last couple of Assassin's Creed games have burned you or put you off. It's a refreshing take on what makes the series so great, and it's all on display here, with a few clunky controls here and there and the odd bug, which is few and far between. So hoods up, hidden blades away, and scale those buildings to get your next target. Thanks for listening to this review. What do you think about the game? Do you feel any differently? If there's anything I missed that you can think of, be sure to mention it in the comments, and as always, be sure to subscribe for regular updates, videos and reviews right here in the Gamtrix.